Perfect.
Okay, here
Cool.
you go.
So let's get started.
Yes.
So we start, just play for me. Anything you like, anything you have been practicing. Let's just start with what comes naturally to you. Excellent. Very nice.
Thank you.
So during the week, how do you think the playing has improved?
Mm, Actually, I use backing tracks to improvise by myself because uh, I like hearing something and going with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I used some kind of backing tracks with A minor and E,
Okay,
and I felt really comfortable.
that's good.
Yes, and I was doing this like for minutes, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and I was just the hanging out. So I the short answer is I felt really comfortable.
I'm so glad to hear that. That's really great.
Thank you.
We might add some notes. So, with the last couple of weeks, we've just really been using a handful of notes we were doing from the high 310, 310, and then second fret of the G string. So, we might add some notes on the D string, which is the fourth string of the guitar. Maybe we'll do 320. So, if you go to the fourth string, the D string, and do 3202. Good. Let's just add those handful of notes to your recipe.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a really nice sound, those kinds of ideas. So give me another little play, and now you can include, it's just three new notes, but it should be enough to make some new melodies.
Uh, can you do it again, please?
Yeah, what you were doing was perfect. So just something like that kind of idea. And you can use all the other ones, you know. Just like same as before, I'm just giving you some new flavors to include.
I'm not doing the thing that is.
You're not doing what, sorry?
I'm not doing this.
You don't have to do it exactly the same like me. It's just a collection of notes. You can use them however you want, and you don't even have to use them if you don't want to. It's just we've been each time we get together. This is our third time now. We're just adding a couple of notes to a really basic melodic idea. I think it's better to slowly add notes because when you have too many notes at once, it's easy to just kind of meander and wonder. But when there's only a few notes to choose from, I feel that it makes for better note selection. Like you have to actually concentrate a bit more and be a bit more careful what you choose to play. And if we add a few notes at a time, eventually you can play full scales and all around the guitar. But you never really had to sit and like learn the scales in a very boring, repetitive way because we just add a little bit. Like when we're learning a language, just a few words each day, or even one word a day is enough if you practice. So that's really good. I'll show you another really classic trick that I've always loved and is used a lot with the Spanish guitar. So the E chord, which you're playing really nice, you can just move the whole thing up one fret. Just move everything and it becomes a kind of special F chord. Try playing around with that kind of idea. Beautiful, good. So some nice sounds coming there. One of the biggest challenges with this style of guitar playing is to go from the chords to the melody and back. When we are switching, that's typically when we make a lot of mistakes, flaws, let's say, room for improvement, often rhythmically because you're going from this strumming, and even me, I've done this a lot, but still. It takes quite a bit to keep the timing of the strumming and then keep the timing of the melody and back and back. One very, very easy technique for one way of dealing with this problem is basically ignoring it. So when I say ignoring it, what you can do and what I sometimes do, sometimes it's a nice musical choice, sometimes we have to make other musical choices, but you can just go and just wait. And then wait.
Okay.
This is an acceptable musical choice. I call it free time, where we're really not trying to play to a steady pulse. It's an option. Another option, which is what you're doing, which is probably more advanced, to be honest, is when we try to keep the pulse and we have to jump very quickly, typically, which makes for really exciting and really great guitar playing. But also, if we go a little bit, even if we go just a little bit out of rhythm, it sounds pretty bad. It's pretty obvious. When you try to keep a nice tight rhythm, it's pretty obvious when the rhythm goes wrong. Now, of course, the ideal scenario is we have so much practice that our rhythm is almost perfect almost all the time. But that would be a good place for you to practice. So why don't you take a little bit of time now, play, and you can play slower. It's always good to play slower when you're practicing. Mm-hmm. And let's make really nice transitions from your chord strumming to your melodic playing and back. And it's up to you how you choose to do your transitions. And there's no right or wrong. It's just, it sounds good and doesn't sound so good. That's the only judgment in music, you know?
Yeah.
So have some fun with that. You're doing really well.
I
very
need to
good.
work on it. Thank you. But
What did
I
you?
need to work.
Of course, you need to work on it. Sure, that's what we're here for. And the work never finishes. There's no stop. There's no day where somebody goes, "Great, I'm perfect now. I finished my practice." The better, the better people get at guitar and at music, the more they want to practice, right? And like it's like the best players probably practice the most. The best athletes train the most. The smartest people probably study the most. You know, so it doesn't end. What I might get you to do, which is what we did last week, is I'm assuming you've got your phone there, your iPhone or whichever phone you use. Let's do where you do another bit of playing, but record the audio on your phone, and then you
Mm-hmm.
can listen back to it after you've played, and you will give some self critique, and I will give some feedback as well.
Okay.
Because I find it always it's very very different. While you are playing, we hear something, but then when we finish playing and listen to a recording, actually it can be remarkably different. So let's try that.
Okay. Starting over.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay.
That's enough.
Start.
That's enough.
Okay.
Let's listen back to that.
Okay. So, starting over. Okay. Starting over again.
Good. What are your thoughts?
Mm, I like to hear the low strings.
You like to hear the lower strings?
Yes. But it seems like I couldn't play anything as a whole, so it was just a practice, and that's all. What do you think?
I think it's developing well. I think it's pretty. I think that like the room for improvement is pretty obvious, like basic missed strings and things like that, and basic rhythmic improvements. So it's kind of pretty obvious that it will improve with time. I guess one thing I notice is that sometimes your playing sounds the tiniest bit. We talked about this a tiny bit last week as well. Almost like you're a little bit nervous. Like sometimes just something very very simple, but you can make small mistakes. Almost like you're just a bit nervous or a bit like stuttering or a bit too polite with the guitar. Where I think if you're just a bit more confident and just that, yeah, just get the real basics. Just like playing one note with one finger, like what should be the easiest thing. It's actually not that easy to do consistently, kind of perfectly, just smoothly. I think that's a little bit nerves, to be honest. A little bit nervous, a little bit shy, a little bit unsure, not so confident. But I think you always gain your confidence extremely quickly when you practice. I think we should do that one more time, if you don't mind. Just take your iPhone again and just do a little 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Play something,
Okay.
and then we can listen back to it.
I'm playing.
Excellent. How did that one feel?
Mm, much more confident.
Great. Perfect. That's what we want. That's what we're here for. If we can do every 60 seconds, do another version, that's better. That's amazing. That's exactly what we're here for. I said to
Yeah,
you
thank you.
before, sometimes people practice, but they really just practice on the same level. Like maybe they learn one song, they learn half the song, okay, do the next song, maybe learn half of this, maybe 30%, okay, next song. And they're just learning many, many things, but it's always at the same standard and they never get any better. So they know
Yes.
100 songs, but none of them are great and none of them are finished. Uh, Much better, in my opinion, to do what we're doing now, which is just incremental improvement, but quick.
Mhm.
Also, you don't have to play for 1 hour and then rest and then play for one. You can literally play for 1 minute. Think, use your brain, use your ears. Teacher feedback can be good as well, of course, whether it's me or another teacher, a friend, a musician, even just can be your friend who doesn't play music but does it sound good? And they go, maybe, oh, it sounds good, or but it will sound better if it's faster or whatever. There was something you did then that you didn't do before. You were playing a slightly different, like you were kind of plucking the strings a bit. You did something like that.
Yes, yes, so
That was really cool. Let's
thank you.
listen. Play that recording. Let's listen to it.
Okay.
What do you think?
Let me say better.
Good, good.
Yes.
That's really nice.
What do you
Um,
think?
uh, I agree. I think again, it's kind of like it's so obvious where the room for improvement is, which will just come with time and repetition. It, um, but that's really good. Sometimes it's not so obvious. Um, One thing I will show you that I think is really nice and is a really kind of quintessentially Spanish guitar sound. I
Mm-hmm.
usually never use the word flamenco only because I really don't have the correct training in flamenco, but so I use the word Spanish guitar sound, um, but whatever. You can use the thumb, say on an E chord, for example, and what you did. This is what reminded me of this idea. Again, I never plan any lessons. I just see what comes. You were kind of slowly raking your thumb down at the start. I'm not even sure if you noticed you did it, or you might not have even used your thumb. I wasn't actively paying attention, but I just heard that sound. But what you can do with the thumb, you can play like, for example, I play the lower string. Sorry, but now my thumb is sitting on the next string. It's actually stop on the string, and then play the next
Okay.
string, and it sits on the string. So you know, like in a cartoon where like they chop someone's head off or a ball bounces, it goes boop 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 on the stairs. You're like Daffy Duck. You can do that with your thumb down each string, and if you do it nice and strong and kind of nice and slow and intense, yeah, it's a nice Spanish sound. And what I like
It
to do
is.
after I'm finished going down, you can use the thumbnail and come up.
Mm.
Yeah, good, good. And And I heard this wonderful explanation on YouTube. I forget the guy's name, but I think he was this Russian guy playing amazing, amazing guitar. And he basically said, don't just go straight, but actually go around. So I'm exaggerating here so it's easier to see. Around like a big curve. And the reason for the big curve is that it takes slightly longer, which makes it sound slightly cooler. So it'll be like... It's like in the park, instead of walking straight through the park or the forest, we just go a little nice curve and it's nicer. Good. So this real Spanish sound. This kind of idea. Another thing I'll show you, so when you do that E chord, it can be really nice to put the finger on the 3rd fret of the D string. So that exact same melody idea you've been doing, those notes that we've been playing with today, you can actually hold the chord and still use those notes. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's a really nice sound.
Okay.
Nice
Got
one.
it.
Good. And it can be really nice. Of course, there is many options you can do, but it can be really nice if you're playing something a bit more melodic, like what you're doing there. Just whatever. But what I'm trying to say is it can be really nice to put some quick, unexpected excitement. And this makes the listener really, when it's very dynamic, because again, it's a very common feature I see of a lot of beginner and fairly average guitarists is that everything is just kind of in the same level. Like if a person always talks exactly the same, it's okay, we're still friends with this person, but it's more interesting sometimes the person speak very loud and very excited. Other times they whisper and they're not talking so much. So this dynamics, we put this into our guitar playing. So it can be really nice. So you show me this kind of idea and really give some up and some down. Excellent. How did that feel?
I got the idea, but when I try to do something, I am doing everything like that. So like, I get the idea, but I need to work on it and let me come back next week
Of
with this
course.
exercise. Yes, I like it.
I said to you last week there is lesson time, there is practice time, there is
Yes.
performance time, there is rehearsal time. This is all different. So now in lesson time, basically what I do is just dump as much as I can. Here is some information.
Yes.
Here is something I learned. Here is something I learned. Do 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 do. I don't expect you to remember all of it. I don't expect you to like all of it. But usually in a lesson, one or two things you go, this one I like. This is good. This one is for me. Because I give things that have been for me in my life, in my music. This one is for me. This one, and you go, this one is also for me. I like this one, and that's the ones that you practice. So for every minute of lesson, there should be at least 10 minutes of practice, I think, or however many, whatever. You know what I mean? Many minutes. Um,
Yes.
so what are you thinking about when you're playing now? You've got different things I've taught you today and previously, and things that you knew before. How are you thinking when you play?
What do you mean? Am I thinking when I play?
For
I
example,
couldn't.
sometimes you play the guitar. Some people can and go, "I want to be the most impressive guitarist. I'm going to play so fast and so amazing. People think I'm amazing." Or some people play and go, "Oh, I'm not sure if this is right. I'm not sure if I'm good enough. What should I do? I'm not sure." Or some people go, "Oh, there's too much information here. I'm not sure." So I'm asking you. It's not really for me. The question is not for me. It's actually for you. Like, what are you thinking about when you're processing all this information and then improvising in real time? I'm asking you to think about it so that you can have your own mental side of the playing as good as possible.
Mm, I'm not sure if I get the question, but
Don't worry,
let
we'll
me.
move on. It's okay. I guess.
I'm feeling really confident, and I'm thinking about the shines of mine while I'm playing because uh, I want to play louder actually.
Okay, good. And how do you
Yes.
play louder? How are you going to do that?
Uh, if I want to play louder, I need to uh, push better, for
Yeah,
example.
pushing harder with the left hand. Also, of course, strumming harder with the right hand, of course. Um, let's look at your right hand technique is good because you've told me before when you were younger you played classical guitar. You
Yes, I
claim
did.
to have basically forgotten everything, although I'm sure it's there somewhere. I'm sure it's living inside you. I think, you know, you've started at a pretty high standard, so obviously your training is there. Let's have a little look at your right hand technique because there's definitely ways to improve volume with right hand technique. And I haven't really paid much attention at all to your right hand because it's quite good already. So we had other more exciting things to start with. Let's just quickly. So maybe just play this kind of stuff for me. Just some basic, just that kind of stuff. But now I'm going to pay attention to your right hand. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Is it
What do you think?
in a? Actually, I'm feeling comfortable with my right hand, but sometimes it is not. It is not flexible enough.
Not
I was
flexible enough.
like,
That's an interesting.
yes, yes, it is like this kind of a shape, and but it
Yeah.
we need to be more flexible sometimes, right?
I think it's pretty damn good. It's definitely better than the average person that comes along. And again, that's obviously your classical training, internalized.
Uh-huh.
One thing I'm noticing, I think it's excellent when you're doing on one string. It's very very good, and I'm noticing pretty obvious room for improvement when you're changing position, when you're sliding or moving. It's always a little bit off, and when you're changing string, it's always a little bit off. So there's some really strong parts and some parts, and again, we should have a little party when we find something that's obviously not so good in our playing, because when we found it, we're halfway to fixing it anyway. So what I might get you to do is play exactly like you were playing just then, but this time let's get you to record it on your iPhone again, so we
Mm-hmm.
can listen to it. You can listen to it without having to worry about playing at the same time, and we can both do some feedback critique, and let's see if we can get that technique better. But I already think you played louder just from thinking about it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was pretty clear. It was pretty crisp. It was pretty. I don't have a whole lot to add right now, especially with volume production or tone projection, because I think it's very good. But timing definitely. So let's do a quick recording. Do 60 seconds like that, and then let's listen to it.
Okay.
Very nice. Okay,
Thank you.
so now give
May
me give me your impression now after playing, and then we're going to listen to it. You can give your impression after listening. So after playing, what are your thoughts?
I I couldn't find something to follow, so uh, I just pushed the notes. So while I'm playing and maybe while I'm listening, I will feel that maybe I couldn't find the whole melody. I'm not sure. But as you said, we need to listen
Yeah.
everything.
We call that
Yeah.
noodling as guitarists. Noodling is when, as I said to you before, just kind of
Ah,
do 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 do,
yes.
and it's okay. Actually, it's good in small quantities, but when somebody noodles too much, it's bad. Um, Noodling can be really useful, just like what we're doing now when we're practicing a technique. If we're learning a new scale or a new idea, noodling is a really nice way of just trying to internalize it and link the fingers and the ears and the mind and all these things. But some guitarists fall into the bad habit of noodling too much, which, like I've
Mm-hmm.
said already, I think twice in this lesson already, you can keep playing for hours and hours and hours, but if you're just kind of aimlessly noodling, maybe you'll get a little bit better very slowly, but for sure it's not optimal. A little bit of noodling is okay, it's fine, it's good, it's nice, and there's a time for it. But when we practice, we practice. So, exactly like you said, you did a bit of noodling, we're going to listen and you're going to look for the gems, the best bits, and you're going to take them, and then we're going to do it
Okay.
again. And we're going to do it again. And in your own practice, you're going to do it many, many times. So, let's listen.
Okay. noodling.
It's very nice. It's very good. Really, it's very nice. I both times when you played and then when we listened back, really, it makes my mind just kind of when I start to imagine things and think about things, and that means it's good because when the
Okay.
music is good, I don't really notice it. I just kind of everything is fine. But when something is bad, it's very bad. Like so, it's making me kind of drift away into my thoughts and in my feelings, and that means it's good. How are you feeling when you play it? When you listen to it?
Uh, I felt like I was practicing my left hand and my right hand, so I felt like I I was not listening what I was playing, kind of thing.
Yeah, it
I
was.
was just the practice. So it, for example, it can be my concentration problem. So I don't have any kind of this problem, but I mean like uh, I felt like I was lost. I was just
Noodling.
uh,
Noodling.
noodling. Yes.
But what you said basically, because we were talking about technique. We started to talk about right hand technique, and we've kind of
Uh-huh.
drifted to here. I think that's a fair comment that it's basically is practice. It's basically technical practice. Like you're not necessarily trying or supposed to be playing a piece of music or a piece of improvisation. It's basically technical practice slash noodling, somewhere in between, which is completely valid and completely fine. Um, I'll give you two small suggestions, and then I'm going to get you to do it again. One suggestion which can work really nicely is to occasionally stay with one note on the left hand. So just stay somewhere for a minute and have a little breath and have a little breath. So that's a suggestion, staying on one note occasionally and having a little breath. And then to intersperse, to put some punctuation, one or more chords as you wish at your discretion. That kind of idea. So there's two ways to maybe start to bring it to be more musical. But a lot of great pieces of music started as technical exercises. So this is a good. You're on a very good path here. This is good stuff. And you couldn't last week. You couldn't do this, right? You improved a lot in 1 week. You probably couldn't do this half an hour ago, or it sounds a lot better than it would have half an hour ago. So that's an excellent rate of improvement. That's exciting. All right, again, and record it so we can do feedback without having to worry about playing at the same time.
Okay.
Well, stop. That's enough. Stop. You're obviously frustrated or something happened.
Okay.
Again, when it's practice time and learning time, it's great when we find a problem because we're going to fix. That's better. It's better to find problems or little technical missteps or whatever, and put their focus there. That's the opposite of noodling. Noodling is when you just play for 1 hour and you don't care what you play, and smart practice is when you play for 40 seconds like you just did and went, oh, something's wrong.
Mhm.
Something's wrong here. What is it? So now we're going to listen back and you're going to figure out what made you so unhappy. It was pretty good, by the way, but something.
shorter noodling.
So what happened to make your face? Because while you were playing, you're like, oh, this is okay. And then you kind of, oh, I'm not very happy with that. What happened? Oh, she's gone. What happened? Did her battery die? Maybe her battery died. Oh well, I'll keep going. I'll keep going until she comes back. I'm not really sure what happened to make her. I'm not really sure what happened. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened in that little bit of playing? I actually can't figure it out. What did you play that made you make that face like, oh no, that was terrible sound?
Uh, it wasn't about the terrible sound, but I felt, okay, Damla, you are doing the same as before. Like you're noodling and you couldn't find the melody, so let's start over again.
Okay. One secret of many for finding a melody, in my opinion, make it more simple. You don't have to play so many notes. And actually, you can, for example, put some restrictions on yourself. So you maybe say, I'm only going to use my high E string and my D string. Just going to use two strings. That's just an example, but I'm saying you don't need to use all the notes of a scale or all the notes that you know or everything that you know all the time. So to go from noodling to a melody, my basic suggestion would be make it like ruthlessly simple. Just go like, what's the best part? And even everything else you can throw away, even the second best part. Say, sorry, second best part, or maybe I use you for my next piece of my melody or whatever. So let's take a moment now, and we'll finish the lesson sort of soonish. We'll probably make this the last little thing that we do today. From this nice noodling that you have done, that is quite nice. What's your favorite part? And let's just develop that now. Let's find the gem in all the dirt.
The ones that I played.
Yeah, which from today, let's just say, what's your favorite little thing that you've come up with?
I like this.
Great. Perfect. And you can stop there. You can just go, sweet. I've come up with a 5 or 10 second lovely little melody. Okay, play it again. Play basically the same thing again. It doesn't have to be perfectly the same, but play the same idea again. Nice one. Very good.
Thank you.
So, still, it needs some work. And actually, it's
Yes.
quite difficult, to be honest. What you've chosen to play is not easy. And you've kind of set yourself this challenge like, it's fast, you're changing chords and melodies. There's quite a bit going on. So, you're going to have to work very hard. Any guitarist would have to work hard to get that sounding perfect because it's quite difficult. But it's exciting, it's great, and it's something that that you have written, you have created, and it started with some improvised noodling, but we tried to guide you. I tried to guide you to make each noodling have some kind of purpose or some kind of reason, and then take a selection and do it again and do it again, and it's getting better and better and better. And so now in 1 hour you have this lovely new little melodic idea or a little concept. You can write it into a song if you want. I can help you a little bit if you want, but you can develop it. You can write it into a classical piece. You can never play it
Mm-hmm.
again. That would be fine too. You just don't play it again, and next week you play something new. It's your music. You can do whatever you want with your music. It's great. But
Yeah, thank you.
realistically, what we tend to do is it's now in your musical vocabulary. So you have another idea, just like when you're learning a language, you have some more
Mm-hmm.
things you can talk about, some more things your guitar can say, some more things you can understand. And as you go through the journey, when it's appropriate to use that vocabulary, you bring it, and you use other vocabulary at other times, of course. So that's realistically what we do with the new music that we learn, you know? So congratulations, that was really good.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jace. Thank you.
So how do you think you this lesson? What do you think from the start to the end? What do you feel like you've learned?
Mm, I learned to. I didn't learn, but I am learning to develop a melody right now. It, I yes, I think so.
Good. And how do we
I
develop a melody?
uh we can do some kind of noodling and then pick the ones that we like and we repeat them so we can generate a melody using the chords, and we sometimes can wait, we sometimes insist on a note, so stopping, repeating, loving the part that you like most, and mm, developing that.
Good.
So, and not using so much notes in this stage of playing, and doing some kind of restrictions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, deliberate restrictions can be really useful because then later you can remove the restrictions. Like for example, you can ignore one of your strings of your guitar, let's say, or a few. You can only use if you only use one or two strings and you do something nice, you have more ammunition now. Well, I can bring the strings later. I can bring the chords later. I can play faster if I don't play so fast now. I can play faster later. So the more we hold back, the more we keep and we give just a little bit, but it's still nice. And we have many, many, many more vocabulary, more tricks, more things, more sounds for later. If we give
Yeah.
everything at the start, well, it's okay and it's very nice, but after 5 minutes, we heard all your tricks, all your cool, okay, finish. But after 5 minutes, I don't want to listen to you anymore. But if you just give a little, if you can learn to play for 5 minutes with just a few little things, and it's still very nice, then the next 5 minutes is a few more things, and then the next 5 minutes, even just one or two more, you can play for hours and it's still interesting because you didn't give everything you know straight away. And I'm not asking you these questions for myself so much, although it's nice for me to hear how you're thinking and how you're learning, and it teaches me as well. But I'm really asking you to just like straighten out your own thoughts because we did, and I do try to give quite a bit of information quite quickly. I dump it on you, dump, 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 here's the information. And then I ask you at the end to do a little recap, really just for yourself, for your mind to say, okay, this is what I'm processing, this new information. Um,
Yes, and
yeah.
also I need to add that keeping it simple,
Yeah.
simpler. Yeah.
Again, noodle first if you want to. It's fine. It's good actually. I would say almost always noodle first, but know that it's just like when an artist wants to create something, you can just draw on the paper, and like we know this is not the final paper. We're going to do this again and again. There will be many drafts. So the first noodle, you're just scribbling, maybe this, maybe that, whatever is in the head, and then look at the paper. Oh, that one was actually quite good. You know.
Yeah.
Good. So well done. We'll leave it at that for this week. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jace.
Practice hard, and I'll catch up with you very soon.
Yes, sure.
Thank you. Well done. See ya.
Kiss her for me.
I
Bye bye.
will. I will. See ya.
It will definitely. Bye bye.